Welcome to Wild. I'm your host, Robin Lavasser. They say our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate. It's being powerful beyond measure. In this podcast, I will share how to break through imaginary ceilings, lean into success, discovering your purpose, and understanding how to create the business and life of your dreams. From failures to triumphs and all the tactics in between, let's jump into the wild arena together. Welcome back to this episode of Wild with Robin Lavasser. Big life. I didn't realize how much that played into my business, but I want to talk about it today because it really has. And what I've been coaching and teaching on all week long is that you really cannot have a big business and a super small life. In what we do and what we choose to do in outside sales positions in general, you really do need a big life to have a big business. I don't know truly of a single person that hasn't made an adjustment or an adaptation in their life, even if they are an introvert. So hear me on that. You can be an introvert and not at the end of the day and not still have a choice, not still give yourself the big life that you need to then create the big business. And the reason is that we are full of connection, right? We are full of wanting to be connected with people wanting to be connected with us. And when it becomes business only, small life, people often, well, I would say most of the time, work with people they know, like, and trust. That's a basic, right? We know that. But then also they work with people because of how they make them feel. And if the only thing that you make them feel is that was a great transaction, it's generally not enough to have a lasting relationship. And all of this really came about to me, ironically, I had a birthday party for my husband. So he turned 50 this last weekend. I started planning it a few months ago. And I've always known that John, ironically, in his construction career, has made incredible connections. And he's got kind of everybody in every trade, if you will, and then all different connections from their clients, different people that he's met over the years. And so many of them attended the party. And also so many of my original connection was business affiliate, if you will, and or client also attended the party. And so I paused during the party. There was about 200 people in our backyard, a little crazy. I started to really just scan the yard and see, where did all these relationships come from? Friends, family, clients, business partners, neighbors, people that we've kind of seen from every season of our lives. And as I was looking at everybody, I started to really play a little game in my head. What's the connection? What's the connection? How did they get here? What was the original route? And I don't mean physically, obviously, relationally. Where did we meet? What brought them into our lives? What was their first connection ever with us? And every single person truly has a story. My best friend from our childhood, right? But she's also become a client who's referred me. She's one of 8 siblings. Parents own a lot of rentals. We've done multiple loans for her. One of her brother-in-laws became a realtor. We do loans for him. There's all this connection. A client who has become like family. We have quite a few of those. One as a leader of our division, one of our loan officers, a couple of our loan officers came and stayed with us with their kids, and they've become like family to us. There was countless from our kids' sporting events and connections from our kids' childhood and their schools. There were a few that a referral turned into a friendship. Somebody introduced us, I did a loan for them, and then we built a friendship. My hairdresser became one of those, and I used her forever and ever and ever, and she's referred me countless amounts of business. My husband's helped her. We've had this great connection. And I will tell you, none of it happened by accident. And I just want to say that out loud because the room is a byproduct of what John and I have done very intentionally, maybe even without fully knowing it in our lives. And I was talking to all of our loan officers on Monday, and I said, how many people in your phone, in your sphere, are you actually truly at the roots connected with? If you threw a big party for yourself, how many people would say, I can't miss it? Because there were so many people that traveled near and far that said, I can't miss celebrating John Lavasser. And I think that's a testament to how we connect. Your business is not the brand of who you work for, the company behind you. Your business is the brand of you, your heart, your actions, how you make people feel, how you treat people, and how people feel about calling you and asking for advice. Hey, what are rates today? Hey, we need to do this. We need to consolidate that. We need to, work on our kitchen. We want to put a pool in. Just this week, I've had several friends and family members reach out with different questions, scenarios when it comes to lending. If I had a really small life and a really small circle that we kept very closed off to the world, I would also have a smaller business. Now, maybe that's a business that makes me really happy being super small, but I think one of the things that we have to trigger is that work doesn't shut off at the end of the day. Work is a segment of your life, just like people, relationships are a segment of your life. And much of that crosses over, much of that has blended together. So if you have a very small people segment to your life, but a big work segment, you're missing not only what I say out on the potential to help more people and be more engaged with people, you're also missing out on joy in your business because every time you do work, it feels like a transaction instead of a relationship. I think one of the reasons that we have been able to, and this isn't from a brag way or anything else, but just really enjoy the work that we do, both John and I, and able to freely say yes, even in the moments where we're like, oh, we've got a lot on our plate, we're overwhelmed right now, is because of how much we enjoy who we get to work with. Whether we've ever met those people before or not, if it became a referral from one of our dear friends, from somebody we've helped in the past, from somebody who gave somebody else a name, right? Those connections. They say you can meet anybody in the world through 5 people. If it's one of those, it doesn't ever feel like work. It just feels like helping and serving. So if you are going to work and then trying to turn it off and going into your personal life and trying to shut the door, if you will, keep a wall up between the two, you don't want them to bleed together. What I would tell you is that I don't think you will find as much joy in the business and or in life in general separating them out. How many of you guys have had a friend, if you will, do a loan with somebody else? And at the root of it, it's really because they just don't know and see and feel the passion that you have for helping all people in that space. And you hoped that they would choose you, but by default, they didn't because you guys have a friendship, but you never talk mortgage. That's such a commonality that I see in the industry where people go, oh, I'm shutting off work for the day. I'm going to go be Robin at home or on a weekend or at a party, and I'm just going to be Robin. Maybe I'm just going to be a mom in that circumstance. And I would tell you, I don't know how to go someplace and pretend I'm not a wife. I don't know how to go someplace and pretend I'm not a mom. Why would I go someplace and pretend I'm not a mortgage loan officer that loves my job? I always love my husband. I always love the work that I get to do in parenting and with our kids. I always love my identity as Robin the friend. Why don't I also bring to the table at all times Robin the mortgage loan officer? And so you can't truly have, I believe, a big business that's really fulfilling and a super small life. And if you're doing that right now and you're keeping it separate, I would challenge you to blend them together. I would challenge you to have a great coffee with a friend and also talk about mortgage and how you can potentially help them. When people see your passion around what you do, who you do it with, how you do it, who you do it for, man, they want to be part of it. They want to be part of it at the end of the day. And so many of us try to separate those things. And I did for a really long time, if I'm being honest. And life got so much more fun for both John and I, even overwhelming at times. There's people that will say, gosh, it's so much. You're right. It is a lot. And it is also, you can't have a lot of something and also not have, yeah, there's some bad with it, but a lot of gifts, right? A lot of gratitude, a lot of absolute just gratefulness and benefit, if you will, from it, not because you're seeking it, but because that's the byproduct of having a great network, a great circle that not only feel like clients, but they also feel like friends and family. So play bigger in your personal life and let that take the wall down if you have one up and be who you are, the 5 or so widgets of what represent you as a human being and let them all blend together beautifully instead of trying to be each one individually and close doors in between each room that you're in as that persona. And I promise you, your business will blow up bigger than you ever expected. Even as an introvert, you will find joy in the amount of people that you get to connect with and serve. And it will feel easier and less like business and more just like you living life, serving others. If this was helpful, I hope you share it. We'll see you on the next Wild.